Welcome to today's Seidokan Saturday. One of the requirements now at Brown Belt is I start testing techniques of Toide, grasping hand throwing. Toide is the old Okinawan Ryukyu pronunciation. We call it Toide now, but Toide is correct. The techniques of Toide have a lot of principles and concepts involved and specific techniques that are done. I will include in the link below a playlist that I found of Seidokan Toide, mostly Master Toma performing techniques. But I'm just going to give a few examples tonight of what I would expect my Nikyu brown belts to know. I require them to do 3 Toide techniques and put them into a combative context, either receiving a punch, a kick, gun to the head, a knife stab, something, grabs of some sort. So putting them in a context. So the first most simple one that we do is we start from the handshake. Okay. Now, why would I fight somebody who's handshaking me? In old days, gentlemanliness kind of got abused. And even today, if you're watching mixed martial arts and a guy goes to tap the gloves, some guys will be rude and not accept the tap. It's like, okay, they put the glove out and the guy will swat their hand away and come. Rudeness ensues, okay? So manners kind of go out the window. The same thing kind of happened with the handshake, is they would use that as a lead-in or a sucker punch prep, okay? So what we're going to do in this situation is I don't want that hand coming at me. I'm going to take the web of my hand, press in and down as I step back and away. That removes the threat of this punch. From here, I'm going to overhook his thumb so that the first bone of my thumb presses down on the knuckle of his thumb. This way, I push in. I'm going to take his sleeve and bring him up. Okay? So that sequence, very basic first. 1, 2, and then 3. From this position, I can transition into some of our follow-ups. But if you get real close here, Max will make his face for you. I have this position with my bone of my thumb wedged over the first knuckle of his thumb and pressing. And I can push down or bring it up or position it wherever I want from that start. Okay? That's our Toide number 1. 1, 2, down, then up with control, and we get him on his toes and make him dance and tap and all sorts of fun things. Okay? Second one, cross wrist grab. Very basic again. Punch from this hand, or if he grabs the other way, punch from that hand, whichever one is coming. Okay? So I'm going to pin his knuckles. I'm going to move away from that hand and circle. And on this, I'm going to use the side edge of my hand to cut right into the edge of his wrist and press down. Then lightly with my fingers, I'm pulling on his wrist in this position. Okay? So from the other side, pin, cut, pulling down. Okay? From that position, we pretty much have him locked. That's second basic. Third basic, again, we could take it from a wrist grab, but I'm going to go from a lapel grab on this one. It could also come from a punch. Switch sides for me. Okay, because he's lefty, so he chose to grab with the right and punch left. I'm going to pin here. Now, I don't typically want to go toward that hand, but I'm going to step away from it. He still might be throwing that hand, so I turn, and now I have the meat of his hand, and there are a variety of ways. You talk to jiu-jitsu teachers and must line the thumbs up, must cross the thumbs, must grab here. The idea is, the name of this is kotegaesh, means turning the leaf. So here's the leaf. Once I get this, and part of the stepping this way, if I just try and pull his hand off, he's not going to do it. But if I step this way, my whole body allows, and now his leaf is bent already. I take the meat of his thumb. Oops. Now I continue to do change body, which is where I place my foot here and unwind, and I basically have him down, and then I can lock just by pressing the hand. Okay? You get a nice bodily reaction. Basic kotegaeshi goes this way. Thumbs lined up along the middle of the back of the knuckle. Okay? But once I have the meat of the hand, I could actually just push with a finger between his middle and ring finger carpals, okay? Or metacarpals. So I can line up here, I can push here, but if I take my whole hand, once I've stepped here and peeled this down and off, this direction, peeled this down and off, that hand's a challenge. So I step back around. Now we're going to dance a little bit. I step back around, and as I unwind, I'm pushing down on his hand here. Now I reverse field, step to his elbow, and just press down on that hand. The basic throw is just here. So if he's taking it off of a punch, I might deflect, coming offline from the punch, return, come in tight. If I try to do this way out here, which Aikido and a lot of jiu-jitsu schools, the further away I am, he can just pull his hand out away from me very easily. But if I come in toward his hand, again, and now again, I have the whole power of my palm pushing on his pinky, and then I like to just come right in here and place the pressure down. Okay? 3 very basic, okay? So, handshake, cross wrap, kotegaeshi coming either from a grab or a punch. I like it from the punch, but again, catching punches is an iffy proposition. So when he's punching, I have to make sure that I've created the distract before I come in tight and then unwind and press. Okay? Let's just do one more for grins and giggles from the same punch, but instead of going outside with the kotegaeshi, now I'm going to go inside for either an ikkyo or nikyo. Hey, again, I step off the line, but now that hand's the danger, so I'm coming across and down, even if he's pulling his punch back. If I've deflected and he's pulling his punch back, now I can still come here. Okay, punch comes, offline. I'm into the live hand, but I've deflected a little bit. Now I'm going to turn his hand this way, sort of a reverse wrist lock. I have 2 directional options here. One is to step forward and press. The other is to pull back and down. Both work, okay? So again, the punch comes. This is just the reverse side of the wrist grab. I'm going palm to back of hand, grip. Turning it, I already have him part way. Now, I'm going to show you a third one off of here. The first one is the full pushing his palm toward his elbow. In and down and back, either way, okay? The second one, we tend to use more off of a lapel grab, but we can do it from here as well. Same beginning. From here, instead of turning all the way with his palm toward his elbow, I turn pinky side vertical toward his elbow and press forward and down. Okay, same thing. Now I can use his fingers to great advantage here to hold that. And again, we can follow up with a whole variety of fun things as well. Okay. Those are just a few examples of some Toide or tui-te that I would expect a brown belt to know. You know those, yes? Oh, good. My expectations have been met. Happy day. Arigatou gozaimasu. So we introduced tui-te techniques, concepts, offline, aware of live hand. Even if I'm into it, I can turn away from it if I'm pulling his balance with me. Manipulation of the joint into a lock. Now, Toma Sensei would not have done it quite that gently. And I will include, as I said, a playlist that I found of a lot of Toma tui-te in the bottom, just as further examples of some of these techniques. I also have a in-class video that I did not too long ago. This technique, which again I would expect a brown belt to know. From here, coming across, pushing in, oops, and turning. This one comes pretty much straight out. Now, if it was Toma, he would have just finished and left him down there. right? We like to sometimes come down and create the lock and secure it. Okay, right. All right, so back to what I was saying. I'll include a playlist of Toma Sensei doing tui-te. Later on, I may get into more techniques and so forth, but that's the requirement for Nikyu. There's at least 3 of those done in a self-defense scenario. Thank you for joining. Next week, we'll move on to Pinyan Goran Nakata. And until then, like, share, subscribe, and as always, let's keep practicing.